Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the RapnWrestle podcast. You know me, I'm Derek Gambo. This is the RapnWrestle podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at RapnWrestle. Check us out on iTunes. Check us out on YouTube, at RapnWrestle as well. Today, it's a very special episode, special for me as well. Two guys that I've watched do a lot for the community. I've watched blossom in their careers as well. Two special guys to me, man. I just like to see their progress, and I like to see the things that they're doing and how they have been succeeding here. We're going to get to know them better on this episode, and we're going to talk about a lot of interesting things that have been just going on, and let's get to it. And first, we have Ashton Burrell. What's going on with you, bro?
What's up, bro? I appreciate you for having me, man.
Yeah, man.
Of course. I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. Glad to have you on. Also, my boy, Hot 97 Zone, Luis Mercado. What's up with you, bro? AKA Breaking Lou, AKA King Louie. What's good with you, bro? You got to take your mute off, Lou.
What's up, y'all? I'm just chilling, man. Just getting through day to day.
Yeah.
That's how I know you had a long day, man. You're working hard, like always. But yeah, I try to keep it short there because what I want you guys to, tell people who listen to the show what you guys do. So that's why I'm going to a long thing about, all these great things that you do. Ashton, let's start with you. I talk to Louis all the time, so I know everything he does. But Ashton, just, tell people who are listening to the show, just like what you do, man. You make such a impact in the community. Just tell everybody, just like, everything you do and everything you're involved in.
Nah, I appreciate that. Well, first and foremost, I'm a Highland Parker from the, that's off rip. I'm a Highland Parker. I'm a community leader. So I do a lot of different things within the community. Chair the state's Human Relations Commission. So, I do a lot of things like that in regards to community building, mentoring, and just improving, youth development, community development, and just, improving our people. So just trying to be literally a resource, to any capacity that I can be of helping. So that's really what it all boils down to. And at the end of the day, I'm just a vessel, that I feel God is just using to do certain things with. So, that's really the main thing of it all. But that's just a little background on me.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Luke can attest to this too, that, if anybody talks about anything positive, community service related being done in Highland Park or, in our area, period, your name is usually attached to it. We know that for sure. Lou, first out, like with these things, I like these things because, me and Ashton, we work together. We do community service stuff together as well, but we never really got time to like just stop and talk to each other and, get to know each other and all that stuff. So this is a good time for us to get to do those things. Same thing with Lou too. We hang out all the time too, but we never really talk about what Lewis actually does. I have like a brief, understanding of what you do. But Lou, break down what you do for Hot 97, man.
Yeah. So I'm Hot 97's social media and editorial manager. So I'm in charge of everything that goes on all of our social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, et cetera, Snapchat, all that. Also, everything that goes on to our website, all the stories that we do, any features, breaking stories, all of those things that go on the website. I also work on Ebro in the morning. I work on digital for Ebro in the morning, and you might hear me every once in a while on there as well. But yeah, I mean, for short, that's what I do pretty much.
Yeah, awesome. Definitely an important factor to helping Hot 97 go for sure. For you personally, how has, just like the change of everything, how in COVID itself, everything just getting shut down and trying to get back to normal life, how has that affected you and like the way you have to, deliver news and deliver entertainment to fans who listen to Hot 97?
Well, I think with COVID, I think it changed a lot of things and put a lot of things in the forefront. It's not even just COVID. I think everything that has happened around it as well. So you always have to pay attention to what's going on. So let's say pre-March, like late March, before we were all sent home to work from home and things like that. You know, a lot of our content was a lot more, I would say maybe 90-10, where it goes, you know, breaking celebrity news and hip hop news, and all of that on our social media and within the editorials. So when COVID came on, we also have a responsibility to the public to inform them on what's going on, what are the next steps, and how, you know, what COVID, how is it affecting them and how will it affect them in the future, right? So as soon as that happened, within the next 2 weeks, we were covering basically daily the new updates on when it comes to COVID, including next steps, you know, within the weeks and the months afterwards. Not necessarily reporting on like this many people died today, but more so, this is how it's going to affect you. This is how it's going to affect work, including the stimulus packages and things like that. How it's going to help the normal person. Okay, we had to use our voice to make sure we inform the people on how is it going to affect you and how can you stay safe. So that's how we were doing it, and we continue to update as things continue to open and things like that. How it also affected things. Remember, at the same time, we had these protests because George Floyd happened. So you had all these things going on hand in hand. So we had to really focus on our own community as well and how we can help our community. You know, Black Lives Matter, you know, really reporting on those stories, making sure also, I know for Juneteenth, so the day before that, we posted, I think for 12 hours straight, I posted a new name every 8 minutes, which is the time that George Floyd's neck was constricted of air as the officer was on top of him. Every 12 minutes, we had a new name of a person, of a Black person that was killed by the hands of police. We posted that on social media. That's all we posted on social media throughout the day until 6 o'clock, which was the town hall that night.
Yeah, well, man.
On Juneteenth, we helped give some focus to what Juneteenth was and what like local businesses and stuff that we can support. This is also something I do want to focus on more so in the future with small businesses and how we can help them within the Black and brown communities as well, using our website to do that. Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of a long answer, but that's kind of how we have changed what we were focusing on. A little less, especially in the first 2 months, a little less on the breaking news and the gossip. And let's be honest, there wasn't much of that going on anyway. Yeah. But how we can help our communities, how protect our communities, and how keep our communities safer.
Yeah, see, that's how I like. That's how I kind of like wanted to, you know, bring you two together because you deliver that message. Ashton is helping with the actual work out in the field as well. Like you guys, you tie it together. For you, Ashton, just like with how everything has been going on, I know you just being, doing civil rights activism. I know like with COVID and kind of like everybody being home and actually being able to focus on stuff. Like it started with George Floyd. Well, really, it's been going on, but the big issue for everybody, it started with George Floyd, and you were putting together, all these events. You actually put out together a protest here in Highland Park as well. How has that changed for you, just trying to put these events together, as well as trying to follow guidelines as well, so that people aren't getting affected at the same time?
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely. Even starting at the George Floyd thing, even when I said I was gonna do that protest, I was like organizing it in my head. I'm like, yeah, this is about to be against complete, because that was kind of in the beginning too. So it wasn't a lot of real regulations. It was just kind of stay inside. That's all we knew. Like stay inside. You know what I mean? Don't be around people. And then I just got to the point I was like, man, we've been in a pandemic. It's people out here literally dying every day. you know, because of their skin tone. You know what I mean? And that was the mindset that I went into it with, and I was kind of like, you know, bumped it. And then I said too, you know, you still gotta, cause you know, you got a mixture of people, even within the pandemic itself. You got some people like, don't tell me put my mask on. I don't want my mask on. Then you got some people that's like, nah, keep your mask on. You know, so wanted to make sure everyone was able to be, you know, a part of the movement and that protest specifically that day in their comfort, within their comfort of where they were at with the mask situation. And that's why I created the Zoom for the protest. So if people couldn't make it, they were able to jump on Facebook Live. They were able to go on Zoom. And then I had a call-in number actually, which was set up with the drive, because there were some people that did the drive during the protest, and then there was some people that actually marched during the protest. And the driving part, I created the call-in because I wanted people to be able to follow the directions, because they wouldn't be able to hear it while their car windows was up and there was so much going on. So there was a dial-in number, and people were able to actually dial in and actually hear the whole protest going on, which was amazing. So it was kind of just thinking about, you know, how we should always be thinking, you know, how do you make sure you can connect to the time that you're in, you know, because tomorrow somebody could be like, everything's open. You know what I mean? So then you got to adjust to everything being back open. You know what I mean? So it was just basically about just, you know, figuring out what was going on around you. And then with some of it, it's kind of like, you just got to do it. You know what I mean? And then, you know, you just tell people to, you know, just be respectful and with the health situations. And, you know, you just hope that everybody's just being safe, outside of the events, because when they come to it, that's when you usually see them. So you just hope that everybody's being safe and stuff like that. And, you know, you just do it. So I think the biggest change I've seen, is like with the food distribution, you know, the number of, families that we serving for food distribution is increasing. You know, like Lou touched on, you know, people losing their jobs. You know, people don't got the money to pay for rent. I mean, and these are things that a lot of people have always had problems with. So to add more onto it, it's kind of like, oh man. So the food has actually been able to kind of help in some instances with a lot of people. You know, just in the midst of COVID and everything, you know, you're seeing definitely a rise in people needing more food and things like that. Like Lou said, people losing their jobs and, you know, just going through unemployment. And then unemployment, you know, within itself, that's another job. You know what I mean? People not getting through. You know, I've heard countless stories of people calling 2-3 weeks straight, you know, months, I'm sure, trying to get through and not getting through. You know, so just to be able to provide that little bit of a load off, you know, it goes a long way. So that's why I appreciate you, Derek, and the team that, you know, y'all make sure every Tuesday that the food gets delivered there. You know, it's so helpful. And I tell people all the time, like, you know, a lot of stuff that some of us, you know, we ungrateful for, man. It's so many people that would be so quick to, you know, just swap positions real quick with us, man. And the COVID it's shown a lot, man. You know, from the food distribution, you know, you see in people's colors. I think it's doing that too. You know, in regards to people are sitting with themselves, man. You can't go nowhere. You know, you can't fill up your schedule with putting a mask on and stuff like that. You gotta sit with yourself, man. And I think a lot of people are growing during this time. Because I think they got a chance to like sit with themselves and really say like, oh, okay, this is wrong, or some of them saying this ain't wrong, and they just gonna be what they gonna be. But that was one of the biggest things I saw in regards to, like, you know, being in the community was the rise for the food, and groceries and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I can definitely see that for sure. And one thing with that as well, especially what's important about what you do is and it kind of it influenced me to actually want to do it too. I never told you that, but like just seeing you, what you were doing in the neighborhood. I'll talk to Luis and I'll tell him like, yo, you know what? I think I should get involved. We always see Ashton doing everything. We should start helping out too and doing stuff. So that was one of the things that kind of made me want to get down. And I think for us especially, I think it's important that especially like the younger guys, that they see people that look like us that are doing these things, that are out there volunteering, that are helping other people. Because sometimes I think we get tied up in that just thinking about yourself. Yes. And you're not worried about everybody else. So I think what you do for sure, it's a good purpose, and just you're influencing a lot of people to actually want to be selfless as well, and just want to help other people, and take the time out. For me, it's like I'm taking out 3 hours every Tuesday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For sure. It might not, it doesn't seem like a big deal to me, but maybe, to other people it's like, oh, he took time out of his day away from his family to help somebody else. You know what I mean? So I think we need to touch on that more. We definitely need to do that Absolutely. More as, minorities for sure, just to show like, let's help each other. Let's help other people in general. It's not just about, ourselves. We talked about George Floyd, and, that's kind of like, during COVID, what kind of made, everything explode. And, everybody, finally came to the realization, the United States, that these things are happening in the U.S. and, there's prejudice going on, there's racism going on, things that we knew was happening for all these years, but, people finally decided to talk about it.
Some people.
Some people, facts. Some people. But, and some people still act like it doesn't exist.
Oh, yeah. They're like, what are you talking about?
For sure. That's a whole other story. But, it's like I feel like we're at the point now, it's like, we did the protest, we did everything, and then still things are happening like what happened to Jacob Blake.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, what needs to be done to like for this to stop? Like, what do you guys think like needs to be put in place? What do we as people need to do? What should happen with police? I'll start with Lou first. Like, what are things that can be done to help, finally cease all these things so that they aren't happening anymore?
I think people just need to talk to each other. I think that's one of the biggest things going on right now, especially, look, racism has been going on for forever, right? This isn't nothing new, this racism thing, this, okay, you can say we elected a black president, and you look at this person, they're doing this, black people doing that, whatever. That doesn't mean anything, okay? These are things that have already been happening and all that stuff. Racism still exists. There's systemic racism and all of that, right? I think one of the biggest things we need to do, though, is talk to each other. I think right now, more than ever, we are in a very secluded time where everybody is only talking to people and getting information from their own bubbles. Okay, especially now with COVID, that you've been sitting inside with just the same people, the people that talk to you, the people that are just like you. You're not experiencing anything new. You're not talking to anybody different. Although if you are talking to somebody, it might be on Twitter, which you're trolling, or you're talking to or Facebook. You're just arguing with people based on your own beliefs.
Absolutely.
I think the biggest thing I think we need to do, number one, is talk to people. Look, there's going to be people who think differently from you, and that's okay. And you can have conversations about that. That's okay. Now, no one's going to – now, I wouldn't take disrespect, but I think it's important for people to start talking to each other and listening to each other, more importantly, because that's what I think is missing right now. Also, I think people need to go outside of their box and watch and listen and read information from different sources and different places. Because again, you're only reading things that reinforce what you already think. That may not be true, or If you don't experience it, you won't, or you don't hear about it, or you don't read about it, then you're not going to think about it. So you're just not looking at it from a different point of view. I think people just need to start reading again, really, but looking at taking yourself to just go outside to another place, and learn more about those other experiences, so you're not so ignorant. I think those two things will actually help a little bit.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. Ashton, what do you think kind of like needs to be done to kind of make sure that these instances, they stop once and for all?
I definitely agree with Lou. I think people, I agree with that. Like, if I get that on a t-shirt, like, read more. Like, I think so many people got to tap into books and not just Instagram memes. You know what I mean? Like, people read a meme, and there's so many memes, people will read, and it incites them, and that's great. That's great that it motivates them, but then you start talking sometimes with false facts, and sometimes when you got false facts, you run into the right person. A, you might get your feelings hurt, and B, you know what I mean? you're going to be looking like you don't know what you're talking about. So I definitely think reading is essential right now and always. Accountability. I think a lot of these people just need more accountability. If you able to just keep beating somebody up, and you know that nothing's gonna happen to you, I mean, you're gonna keep doing it, right? So it's like the bully in school type syndrome. You know what I mean? Like, the bully always gonna keep bullying someone until the bigger bully comes and beats that bully up. Then he's no longer the bully. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of the situation with a lot of different things that's going on in the world. Everybody's, like you said, it's systematic racism. So it's already built into the system, which means it's only really one way to get rid of it, and that's to shut the whole system down and reevaluate it and rebuild it. You know what I mean? There's so many things that's not going to change because it's just so deeply rooted. And, the only way to get rid of a root, you got to kill the root. You got to literally do just that, So I think when we get to the level that we're able to understand that killing the root don't mean getting rid of people literally, but more so getting rid of the systems and the mindsets that have been passed on to them in just every place. I think then we can begin to get somewhere, because there's still people that in general just don't feel like Black Lives Matter. Shoot, there's some people I don't think they care if any life matters but theirs, and I think, like you said, if people started reading more, reading real stuff, right, specifically, yeah. I think that can definitely help, and start holding these people more accountable and not giving them a death duty after just shooting somebody a million times because of their skin tone, and you saying their skin tone was a threat to you, right? And then the worst you're gonna get is a slap on the wrist, death duty, or transfer to another place, and and not even just with the officers, employers, some of these heads of places are just, completely racist. And, if we continue to support them and just say it's okay, then people are just going to do what they want to do, but until, people start really saying, nah, we're not accepting that, we're not taking that, some of it might just continue to happen until we really, like I said, just shut the system down and rebuild it back up.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that for sure. I mean, never in my life did I ever think I would hear anyone say and actually start to defund the police. Yeah. I don't think any of us ever thought we would hear that people would start taking money away from the police and start allocating it to, things that it should go to. And I think that's been, that's one of the number one problems when you look at a lot of these urban areas, you know, money will be put into these areas, but the money isn't going to the right places. Mm-hmm. It's like it gets handed to the guy at the top, and then it doesn't get trickled down to the right places that it's supposed to. And you know, that's a wrong. You know, that's wrong. We shouldn't be dumping all these millions into the police. And you know, when there's a problem with education in these areas, you know, it's proven that if you will fund education and help kids get a good education, put money into these after-school programs and things like that, violence and crime will stop in these areas, and you won't need to be putting all this money into the police department.
And I think that's the biggest thing. I think people tend to look at the problem all the time, but don't tend to think, why is the problem happening?
Exactly. Yeah.
So everybody's like, oh, well, we need more police because why are these people killing each other? Especially, why are these people doing crimes? People need money. I'm not saying everybody's a good guy, and I'm not saying that's the reason for everything, but generally, they are doing these things because that's the only way they know how to survive. To them, is survival of the fittest at this point. They're just trying to find a way to live.
Absolutely.
So how can we? And that's the thing. Everybody wants a quick solution to the problem. There is no quick solution to the problem. This has been going on for hundreds of years at this point. You know,
absolutely.
It's a mindset. It's embedded. It's literally embedded in the DNA.
Absolutely.
So it's finding the steps on how we can fix it throughout these next few years, so the next generation can have a much better experience than even our generation that had a million times better than the generation before that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, Ashton.
Now, I was just going to say I completely agree with both those. And I think, you know, with the money situation too, you know, when we got to make sure the education people are spending it right, you know, making sure that the right teachers is in the building, you know what I mean? The right educators is in there, you know what I mean? Not somebody that's just going to fail a kid because they didn't maybe do some homework, not knowing that they student is taking care of three of their siblings, making dinner, you know what I mean? The adult at home, and they like 14, you know what I mean? So just more compassion for some of these kids. I'm not saying you got to give them a free pass, but you know, sometimes, like you said, it just take a quick talk for you to even understand, like, oh, that's why they acting like that. That's why they late coming here or doing like this, or they may be acting up. They may not have ate this morning. You know what I mean? They may not have ate for the last couple nights. You know what I mean? So it's always, like Lou said, there's always a reason that there is a problem for most situations. Most people want to rob and stuff like that because they want something. They want what they don't have, or what has been systematically put on them to not have. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's kind of like, you know, you'll create these laws, you know, that will allow for one of the breadwinners in the house to get arrested, which leaves for one person to take care of a whole house. You know, and in a lot of situations, it becomes a single mother, you know, who then has, you know, younger kids, and, you know, the natural feeling of some of these younger kids is, I got to take this on. And sometimes that single mother needs, like you said, a tag team partner. You know what I mean? And sometimes that tag team partner might be somebody so young, like, you know what I mean, that you least expect, and, you know, your son or your daughter, you know, and next thing you know, they got the weight of the world on their shoulders, you know, making decisions that adults make, but then they got to go to school the next day and ask to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? So that's kind of confusing. Like, I got to ask you to go to the bathroom, but I know that I'm working this shift from 3:30 to 11:30 at night to make sure that the families eat. You know what I mean? So it's just so many things, there's so many factors to it. Like Lou said, it's impossible for it to be a quick solution, because there's so many problems, and even with fixing it, each each year is gonna have a new problem to add to it. You know what I mean? It's always like the problems that we was fighting in the 60s, we fighting the same ones, but the list just got longer. So it's like you just taking that down. It start off at maybe like 5 numbers, then in 2 years it might be up to like 52 problems. You know what I mean? So you know, we definitely we got to start taking care of, you know, a lot of the problems and situations first, you know, so we can start to take off some of these layers.
Definitely.
No, definitely, yeah. I think, you know, exactly what you said. I always, whenever someone tries to, you know, like argue or bring up the facts, like all these things happen, you know, what's the number one thing someone wants to say when, you know, these things happen is that, oh, black people are killing black people in their own areas.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's happening. There's a whole list of reasons why this is happening there.
Absolutely.
Let's try to fix all these other things so that will stop happening too.
Right.
You know, let's do something so that'll stop happening. Let's do something. Then the other thing is they like to say more white people are killed in America than black people. So why aren't you outraged about that too? Let's do something about that too. White people shouldn't be getting killed. Black people shouldn't be getting killed. No people should be getting killed. So let's fix this whole thing together.
It's not a proportional argument. I mean, come on. If there's more white people in the world, of course there's more white people.
People getting killed. Exactly.
Right.
And if you really think about it, and then proportionately, it's what, 30 times more black people getting killed than white people. If you put it all in the same, you know, same even. If you and then also, you also got to think about it like this. What is black on black crime and white on white crime? White people are usually in a community with more white people. Black people are usually in the community more black people.
Yeah.
So, of course, we're killing our own kind. These are the people we're around.
Non-stop.
You know?
Non-stop.
These
and
are the communities. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like Lou said, you know, you these are the people that these people are around nonstop. And then on top of that, it's like the areas and how they portion these areas, you know, who they're sending to certain areas. You know, somebody get out of, you know, they'll let somebody off from you know, they'll let the murderers, the killers, the rapists, all that, they'll send them all back to the hood. You know what I mean? But they won't, you know what I mean? They won't let them into the suburbs with Karen and whatever, you know what I mean? And if they do, then they already know what they're doing. They calling the cops to let you know that they're in the area. You know, even if they're not convicted of anything, you know, they just convicted of being a black person, a lot of people. You know, so like it's so many. Like you said, I think a lot of times people want to find any type of number that can you know, be a rebuttal back. You know what I mean? And that in itself just shows you, you know, the hypocrisy in when people say like, well, all lives matter. Well, why are you arguing with me when I said a black life matter? You know what I mean? It's not. I'm not saying F your life, F your life, F your life. I'm just saying right now, you know what I mean? The whole block, there's a block full of houses, and right now the blackest house on the block is in flames. Like, it's in flames, and we need the firefighters to come down here and put this flame out. That's what we saying. Now, you know what I mean? And if your house was on fire, you know what I mean? We will want your flame put out too. But right now, this black house has been on fire for over 400 years, and the fire is still going. Like, it's still going. All we saying is we're done being burnt. You know what I mean? And that in itself shows you, if a person can get frustrated and somebody saying that they're done with the treatment that you give them, but then in the same breath you ask them, could we switch roles in position, and they hesitate, what are we really saying? Yeah,
true. You know something I also thought about when you talked about, you know, how they're sending people who go to jail, they're sending them, you know, back to these areas. You know, also too, I feel like a lot of the police officers who work in those urban areas, typically they're not from those areas.
Yeah.
So it's hard for you. It's hard for you if you live in a suburban area. You're used to a certain type of life and seeing things a certain type of way, and then you go to a city where there's you know, a lot of bad things happening, and then you see these people. I feel like, you know what I mean. It's just like if we grew up only in the suburbs and all you got to reference people in the urban areas is what you see on the news.
Yeah.
So what does news report? They just report those people killing each other, doing it, selling drugs, committing crimes. So if I'm working there, I'm already got my guard up, and I'm already, you know, scared and ready to do something if somebody tries to do something to me, because the news is telling me these people are going to kill me, you know, out here. So I got to kill them first before they kill me. So I think we also need to work on that. We need to get people that are in these areas that have actually grown up in these areas to police these areas as well.
Absolutely.
I think that makes more sense than, you know, just sending people who aren't even from the city to take care of the people in the city. That, at least to me, that makes sense.
I don't know why they changed the rules, because I think back in the day, to be a police officer in a certain area, you had to live in that certain area.
You had to live in the city.
Yeah, I do remember.
I don't know why they changed those rules, but I think that's one of the most important things. If you think about it like this, look, like you said, if you're a white man and you see all these bad things, you know, going on, and people targeting police and all like that, you're not going to know how to speak to a black or brown man, you know?
Yeah.
You don't understand them, and why should they respect you? Like, that's the problem too. It's just that just because you're wearing a badge, that means you're a man or woman like I am. You know, like, earn that respect. If you're gonna talk to you a certain way, I'm gonna talk to you a certain way back. And absolutely. I understand that may not be right, but people don't understand the consequences to certain things. It's like, just because you have a badge doesn't mean you can talk to me a certain way.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with Lou, man. I think that is definitely a part of it. You know, that respect level. You know, I think our rules, the rules is different, and they've made those rules different. You know, it's like when people, like, you know, black people, if they're in these areas and, you know, they don't have community policing, you know, with situations like that, because a lot of times they're just eliminated from the process before even getting a chance to start it. You know, you got arrested, they got locked up, they got profiled. Some people sitting in jail for stuff that they literally don't even know what happened. They just got picked up. You know what I mean? And paperwork all messed up, you know what I mean? And they eliminated from even getting in the discussion to even be an officer, you know what I mean, within the area that they even live in. You know, and I definitely think, why wouldn't you want to have the person that's from the area policing the area? You know what I mean? They know the area. They know the people there. It's going to be more of a, like you said, a respect thing there, you know, because people know each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People know, you know, and it'll be like little stuff, like a kid shoplifting. I'm not saying stealing is good, but kids shoplifting like a candy bar, man, it don't need no 2-year sentence and 3-year sentence for something like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's for some kids, that's a combo. You know, don't get me wrong. You got some kids, they got to learn. Everybody learns differently. You know what I mean? But it's so many little petty crimes that happen, man, that take a maximum chunk out of people's lives. And it's little stuff like that sometimes create the same problems that people say are problems, and they don't even see how they attribute it to that problem in the beginning. You know, people think because they started a problem in 96 and then it's 2016, like they're able to complain about it. But like you said, the real root behind the problem is you started it. Like, that's how we got to this point. You know what I mean? So accountability even goes back to that. You know what I mean? Just really realizing, you know, and making sure it's fair all across the board, because, you know, it's not even just with the cops. You know, you got somebody like Brock Turner, who who like raped the young lady. And the judge said in court, like, I don't want to mess up this kid's life. I'm like, well, what about this young lady that just got raped? Her life is destroyed. You know what I mean? But you didn't want to mess up the blonde hair, blue eyed career. You know what I mean? Whereas though you got a woman who wanted her child to have a better education, or, you know, might have just made an honest mistake and sent her kid out of district, and she got 5 years. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
it's crazy.
You know what I mean? We can't. It's impossible for people to sit and say that all lives matter, man. You know, when you continuously see it, that it doesn't.
Yeah. No, I definitely totally agree with that. You know, and at the same time, because I think people always get it mixed up when, you know, we talk about things like this, and, you know, this is not an attack on the police. You know, we know, and, you know, we've all dealt with. I know back when I was in college at Rutgers, I worked with a lot of good cops. So we know there's a lot of good cops out there. Of course, if any of us get in trouble, the first people we call are the police. So, you know, we definitely respect the good cops that are doing their jobs the right way. So I don't want people to misconstrue and, you know, assume this is an attack on the police, because that's definitely not what we're doing. It's an attack on the bad police that should not be police in these areas. That's who we think need to, you know, those are the ones that need to lose their jobs. Those are the ones that need to be held accountable, like Ashton said. And, you know, they shouldn't be, you know, just protected because they have a badge on their chest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think even with that, like, you know, there is good cops, it's bad cops, you know, but it's still, you know, it's the overall cops, you know, and that it's the same way that people use that against a black person. You know what I mean? It's some people that see all blacks the same. You know what I mean? You know, that see all people, you know what I mean? So they're not, police aren't eliminated from that discussion. You know what I mean? They're in that, and one of the key things is they're able to take their badge off at night. You know what I mean? You can't take your skin off. You know what I mean? So you could blend in. You could take your badge off and blend in. Just like with anything, you could take your suit off and blend in. You know, you could take off your whatever uniform and blend in. You know what I mean? But when something's embedded in your skin and that's your skin, and your skin is your identity, you can't take that off. You know, so I think that's just what people are saying. You know, people want the same liberation and freedom that other people are able to walk around with. You know, people want to be able to take a jog down the street, you know, and not worry about being attacked. You know, they want to know that they can speak their mind comfortably and not feel like they're going to get demonized because they speaking against what a lot of America has allowed to be considered acceptable and okay. You know what I mean? And I feel like blacks and people of color in general a lot of times have to always put up a mask. You know, we always got to carry ourselves a certain way. Or if we around the cop, we have to get, you know, straighten up and stuff like that. Whereas though they the one that took the oath. They the one that took these trainings. They the ones that's supposed to know how to do all this stuff. You know what I mean? I didn't take them trainings. You know what I mean? But I've had a training in life that lets me know what's good and what's bad. And what's going on right now is obviously not good. You know what I mean? So if a person can agree with what's going on and feel okay with it, then you know, it kind of lets you know a lot about where they at with it.
Yeah, definitely. No, it definitely tells you the type of person that they are for sure. You know, this is you know, 2020 has been a very crazy year.
Oh yeah,
a lot of crazy bad things have been happening. You know, something that's coming up. You know, the election. Just which could be the ultimate icing on the cake on the badness that has been happening this year. But you know, for you guys, I'll start with you, Lou. Just what is the importance of the election, and why should people actually, especially our younger people, get out there, register, and go vote this November?
I know people say this every year, but this is definitely probably the most important election of our lives. A lot of things are at stake in this election. It's not even just presidential. You have to think about Supreme Court. You have to think about the judges that are coming in. You have to think about, just Senate and all of that. This is a very important election, okay? If you don't, it's basically, do you like where we're going in this country or do you not, why the young people really need to, I think there's two things. I think we really need to do a better job, and that's all of us, in educating the young people on why it's important to vote. Because, and not to only vote in the presidential elections. Because, and many times, the decisions that make the most impact in our own lives day to day come in the city council and these little elections, the school boards and all that stuff, that they won't go on an off year to vote, but those make direct impact on yours or your kids' lives. You know what I'm saying? So I think, getting education, and also look why it's very important. I mean, you have to think about, I'm trying to answer this without being partisan, but you have to look at like what's going on in the world, and like, do you agree with the migrant children getting sent back, separated from their parents and things like that, and whether climate change is real or not, or whether we're going to go to war or not, or being lied to about a virus that is 5 times more deadly, direct quote from him, Donald Trump, than the regular flu, although he told us that it was not. It's important to vote, and from what I am proud of this generation, even below us, is that they're starting to understand how important their voice is. Yeah. Once you start talking, and once they see the movement in numbers like that, they start backing off of things, and they start change really starts happening. Now, and it's not going to be fast, and I think a lot of people have to really, control their emotions when it comes to like, oh, well, this is never going to work, or this isn't happening fast enough. No, this is a slow process. You're not going to see it day to day. But 2 or 3 or 4 years from now, you might see the differences if you keep going from what you started day one.
Absolutely.
I think one more thing about the election is just also just register. I think just keep your foot on the pedal. Yeah. People are listening to the young generation, and this is the best chance for some of the things that we want to be done than ever before. Yeah. There is no such thing, and I think a lot of things with the younger generation has a problem with is, oh, well, this person is not perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect president. There's no such thing as a perfect human being, and there's damn sure no such thing as a perfect politician. It just is what it is. Yeah. But who will give you the best chance to listen to you and to listen to the needs of the community, to push for the change that you want? And I think that's what you need to vote for, what people need to vote for and really get engaged with. If more people were engaged, and more younger people of color were engaged day to day, I think change will happen so much faster and so much stronger, because the races of the world, there's many people that just want us to just be like desensitized, like indifferent about everything. It's like, I'm not going to vote because no matter who I vote, it won't affect me, and that's not true.
Yeah, and for you, Ashton, I know you do mentoring. I know you mentor a lot of these young guys. Kind of like, what's the message from you that these guys, once they hit that 18, that they should register, they should get out and vote. What's that message from you sound like?
It's funny, like, just real quick, like a lot of this stuff is like combos like we normally have on a regular. Like, it's funny because even pre-COVID, like, when people started saying like, wash your hands and stuff like that. That's like, if you came in my building before, you already knew that was before we even was talking about COVID. Like, they know as soon as they walk in my building, you say hello, how you doing? you speak, and you go right there and go wash your hands. I don't care what you was doing. I don't care if you just washed them right in front of me before you came in the door. You know, I already know to go wash your hands and stuff like that. And it goes the same with that, you know, with politics and stuff like that. You know, as kids that I talk to, they trumped out, you know, and then there's kids they just Democratic out, you know what I mean? And then you got kids, they Green Party, you know, they parents is Green Party, so they Green Party. And the interesting thing is, even down to some of my elementary school kids, they could talk it. They could talk politics. I think with Instagram and all these social medias kind of becoming the new news, it gives them a chance to be engaged. We keep voter registration stuff in the center. So as soon as they're 18, they're able to sign up right there and vote. Do a lot of different voter registration stuff. We just did something with Job Corps, with the Hometown Hero Club. We did a voters education in 2020 event. Actually, that was last Thursday that just passed. You know, for young people over at Job Corps and in the town here, you know, to register them to vote. And my main thing is, you know, I can't tell you who to vote for. I mean, I could tell you who I'll take, but the main thing is really know what you're voting for, and really know what you're getting. Because I think the one of the examples of that was the woman that I saw. I think she said that her and her husband, they voted for Trump. They talked to her like, I want to say like a week after he got elected. And unfortunately, her husband was literally, I believe he was deported. You know, and this was under the person that they voted for's doing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, people know how to take advantage of people, you know, psychologically. You know, Trump knows how to incite. You know, he knows the right things to say to get people hyped up. He knows how to get racist people hyped up. He knows how to get he knows how to say some of the stuff to get the most ignorant people riled up sometimes. You know, and unfortunately, even in regards to the election, a lot of people are not even using it as political stances. Some people are using them as attacks. You know, some people don't wear Trump, just say like, I'm voting for Trump. This is my political candidate. They voting for him to show like, your life don't matter. I don't agree with your Black Lives Matter stuff. I don't agree with all that. It's Trump 2020. He's going to make America great again. And yeah. I'm like, well, how is he making it great again if it wasn't great from the beginning? You get what I'm saying? So yeah. you can't call something great that was built in the wrong way. You know what I mean? Making America great again would mean that a lot of the stuff that they think is okay today wouldn't be here. Yep. You know what I mean? But yeah. That's a discussion that a lot of them wouldn't want to have. And I would just say make sure you just get out and vote and let's put it like this. I watched the thing the other day where they said that where they had like I guess for one of Trump's commercials or something like that. It was some kind of people. I guess they got I guess tricked into doing what they were doing on the commercial. Mm-hmm. You know, so pay attention to little stuff like that, and you know what I mean, and really do the research. And I'm not saying Biden is the cleanest person. I'm just saying, for everybody to just do their research, really read bills that these people have signed, legislation that these people have backed, you know what I mean? Really get to know who you putting in office. And that's the best thing that I tell people all the time with voting. And make sure you use a vote. You got it. You know what I mean? Use it. You know what I mean? Use it. Use your vote. You know,
definitely.
It's people. It's people that'll say, like, you know, don't vote, it don't do nothing, and give or take, to a certain extent, there's some truth behind some of it, but your vote does matter in the same breath, because not only does it matter to a certain extent, it's people that literally died for this, man. It's literally that put their life on the line, their bodies on the line. You know what I mean? So that would be a disservice to them for us to just let that just go to the wayside. I know I can't sit there and repost John Lewis when he passes away, but then in the same breath I say I won't go vote. You know what I mean? Because it's disrespectful. Yeah. It's disrespectful to someone like that. I can't post a Dr. King quote on my pictures all the time and then don't go vote. You know what I mean? So we gotta embody it, and also when it comes to the vote, hold the vote. You know, say this is what we need as a people, and if you would like a vote from us, this is some of the things that we need done. You know what I mean? And hold them accountable for what you need done, because they're coming to you for a vote. So you need to make sure you're going to them for something in return.
Amen. And think about it like this. If your vote didn't matter or your vote didn't count, they wouldn't fight so hard to try to take it away from you.
That's it.
Definitely fact.
They fight it hard for something that make you think it doesn't matter. Well, if it don't matter, why are they trying so hard?
Fighting so hard?
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, definitely. I definitely totally agree. Definitely good points on both sides for that. You know, I know we press for time, so I'm gonna ask one final question to both of you guys. For first one, I ask to you, Lou, first. What's the importance of being in the media and making sure that the right message is put out? And also, if someone wants to, you know, get involved and, you know, take the route that you did, how can they get involved if they want to be a part of the media industry as well?
So the first question, so how do we get, like, the right message out? What do you mean?
Yeah.
By that?
Yeah. Just the first question, importance of being in the media and just making sure that the right message is being put out.
Well, the important thing, think about it like this, especially for, look, being in the media at all, and even if you're not with a big company or a big brand like I am on Hot 97, but think about it on YouTube or even TikTok or something like that. There's a potential of thousands of people listening to the message that you are saying.
Yeah.
I take a responsibility every day when I come on the Hot 97 to produce and to give the best and most accurate information possible wherever I can. And I'm not saying we're right all the time. I'm not saying we have, you know, we can't improve. But what I'm saying is my intention, as long as I'm here, is to give and share the most right information that we have at the time when we have to. As well, because with an audience like that, you automatically take a responsibility on, sure, you can, you know, everybody likes entertainment and everybody likes the fun and all that stuff, but you have to tell people what matters as well. Or else no one's ever going to learn. Sometimes the best way to learn, and I think that's the best science with shows like Last Week Tonight, The Daily Show, and et cetera like that, is people learn best when you mix the entertainment with education.
Yeah.
So with that, you know, you always have to take the responsibility, because think about it like that. One word or one sentence or one article can cause can cause action from other parties, you know? Yeah. Like, you don't realize how important your voice is until it's too late, to be honest. For somebody like me going into media, look, I took a non-traditional route. I was lucky in many cases, and I worked hard. I think the best thing you should do, especially in the times like today, is if you really want to get into media, you have it all in your hand. You don't have to get a $1,000 camera. You don't have to get like $2,000 laptop like I have here. Like, you don't need any of that.
Yeah.
You have your phone. Most people have their phones. That is your biggest tool. Social media and your phones. Build your following and your identity from there. everything else will come. You know, I think it's important for people also to take ownership of the things that they do. Putting things on Instagram, putting things on YouTube, putting things on TikTok means you basically lose ownership. Yeah, they're paying you for it, but they're using your video for ads for themselves, to make money for themselves. So I would say take ownership in what you do and with these videos, and you know, continue to grow your audience that way. Learn who your brand, learn what the audience wants, and then continue to grow it from there. You know, don't wait for somebody to find you or things like that. You don't need to. You'll be surprised if you DM somebody, they might respond or they might see, hey, you know, this is my portfolio, and I think it's very important to have a portfolio in place. Again, you never know when something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So you want to be ready. If somebody's like, you know what, I'm gonna take a look at you. Do you have anything else? Do you have a portfolio? Do you have something else that you might have? Be ready. Be ready at all times.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, you know, hey, I would like you to look at this. Oh, well, this might be cool. Well, hey, here's my portfolio if you care to look at anything like that. You know, you might get a yes or you might get a response. You never know. You never know who's watching. You know, always be prepared and always be professional, and use your phone. Honestly, if you want to get into media, use your phone.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely agree with you, man. Some good info. I'm gonna take some notes on that as well. But Ashton, for you, if people want to get involved in their community, especially we want to get these young kids out there for sure, to help out in their communities as well. What are some of the steps they should do, and what are some of the things they should look into to, get that accomplished?
I think the easiest thing that costs nothing is to just work on yourself. A lot of times people always, they'll ask me, they'll say they want to do this, they want to do that, they want to get involved, but then they'll go missing. You know what I mean? And a lot of that attributes to them not being in sync with themselves a lot of times and not having everything in order, which kind of defers them from actually wanting to do or being involved in something that they say they want to do, and if you work on yourself and make yourself whole, you're going to automatically, exert that type of energy out to your community. You're going to find yourself in it, you know what I mean? And you're going to be setting an example. And that's one of the highest forms of giving back, like Nipsey said, being that example. So like you said, if you're able to be an example, that helps out sometimes more than people think, because there's multiple people that could see one person doing the right thing. You know what I mean? And you can, if you have a chance to make something the so-called wave or the, you know what I mean, whatever, the swag, to make it lit, like make giving back lit, that's the way to go. And, if they want to get involved, there's plenty of things they can do. I know for a fact, you know what I mean? There's friends that they may have that's going through something. So maybe just picking up the phone, reaching out to somebody that you ain't talked to, talking to somebody that you may not normally talk to, somebody that, may be going through stuff that you may know of or may have heard of, just speaking to somebody randomly, even if they don't speak back, you never know what that hello may have did, so if you maybe change your attitude, sometimes your spirit, those are some of the easiest ways to give back, you know what I mean? And don't be selfish, you know what I mean? Keep the selfishness out of it, and you'll always find yourself giving back, you know what I mean? And that don't mean just give yourself and deplete yourself and your energy in your cup till it's nothing in your cup. But, just little things like somebody cut you off on the road. Hey, man, if you safe, everybody in the car good. Sometimes you get more worked up, like, F you just, you know what I mean? And sometimes the person might have cut you off because they going through hell. They might be going home to hell. You know what I mean? You literally just never know what the next person is going through. And sometimes the best way to give back is to just check yourself and and be within peace with yourself and exert that out.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely good points by both of you guys. Very helpful resources as well. For both of you guys, for Lou, I want to follow you, check out, things that you've done on Hot 97. How can they connect with you on social media?
Connect with me. If Breaking Lou, BreakingLou. Yeah, Breaking Lou. I'm on Twitter, Instagram. I'm on that, so you can reach me there.
Yeah, definitely. And Ashton, is for you. If they want to get in contact with you, or see your progress and all the great things you're doing for the community, how can they connect with you as well?
I'm on Instagram at Ashton_Burrell, ASHTON_Burrell, BURRELL. Twitter, I think my handle is Ashton S. Burrell. And they can go to hometownheroclub.com actually too. We actually have a fill out form on there. So if you want to get involved, like we did an event in Inkster, Detroit, Michigan, in December, Shoot Hoops Not Guns out there, which was huge. And connected with like some people there and just saw, some of the energy that's just exerted from that, that convo, link people together that never been together through the city, out there. So, just reach out to us, hometownheroclub.com. I'll make sure I get to you as soon as I get the form that's filled out, so we can get something going if you want to get involved.
Awesome, man. Yeah. And, basically, both of you guys, I just want to thank you guys, for taking out the time. Like I said, Lou, you're my boy always, man. And definitely appreciate you doing this for me. Ashton, I know you're a busy man. I know you're always doing something.
Y'all the busy ones.
And I'm trying to stay busy. But, I appreciate both of you guys. And, hopefully in the future, we'll work something out, have both of you guys on again. And for us, this is RapnWrestle. You can follow us Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at RapnWrestle. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on iTunes at RapnWrestle as well. Make sure you subscribe, like the page, all that good stuff. And for this episode, we are out.